It's the Rangers Journal night.
Good evening, Internet. This is your Rangers Journal post-match reaction pod after Rangers got through in the third round of the Champions League qualifiers, but unfortunately it was defeat on the night after we lost 2-1 to the Czechia side, Viktoria Plzen, but did go through 4-2 on aggregate. Joining me to go through the game, first of all, is Ross. Ross, how are you, pal?
Been better, mate. Very stressed yourself.
We had hair before this.
I'm getting there.
And somebody who does still have their hair, but must be the German weather, is Richard. Richard, how you doing, mate?
I'll start off positive. Yeah, I'm doing all right. But that was utter dross watching that. I'm not gonna lie.
It was. We'll certainly get through it. Guys, if you're looking for an incredibly positive, super duper pod of happy, cheery, clappy stuff, I don't know if you're going to get it here, but we'll try and be realistic. I think realistic is what we'll try and give you, as we always do here on the Journal. Richard, you were obviously in the pre-match with the guys. The lineup was announced, and it was obviously pretty similar to the previous game. Was that probably something we were expecting from the manager?
Yeah, I don't think anybody was really too surprised with the lineup. As we said pre-match, there's a couple of changes in the fact that starting Tav instead of Aaron's at right back, but I don't think that was a great shock to anybody. Really, so no surprises, no real concerns either. Really, to be honest, pre-match.
I don't think any of us had concerns pre-match because we've been asking the manager to play, players in the correct position. And Ross, obviously, the only kind of thing that was maybe a discussion point was Max Aarons did go off with an injury on Saturday, and James Tavernier came into his place. Probably not to be unexpected, but apart from that, was the lineup something that you were looking for?
Yes, that was the only change that I assumed was going to happen. But yeah, I remember that lineup. Yes, I'm glad Raskin got a start.
Definitely,
and his personal position.
Yeah, I think that's what we've been kind of screaming out for. We've been screaming out for Raskin in the six. We've been screaming out for guys playing the right position, no Dowell. At a front three of Antman, Dessers, and Gassama is probably what we're looking for at the moment. Obviously, we can break through the game if you'd like, but I think what we probably need to overarch that with is that overall, Richard, it was an unacceptable performance from Rangers. There was the defence that couldn't defend, a midfield that couldn't pass, and an attack that was simply unacceptable, wasn't it?
Just putting it mildly, to be honest, mate. There was a lot more expletives I wanted to use, if I'm being honest, but I was trying to think to try and describe what I was watching. To be honest, I was annoyed during it. There's so many basic errors, and they made us look like a championship team, a League One team, just doing the simple stuff just was not there. And then no penetration, no real, I don't want to say desire because I've seen people sort of running, things like that, but just no creativity. It was just infuriating from start to finish. All right, Butland made a few good saves, but even then there was an error right at in the first 15 minutes where he got closed down when he should have just booted the ball up the park. I understand that we want to play from the back and that's the idea, but if it's not on, just get rid of it. Not risk being closed down. And from there, it just got worse. And I'm not just blaming I'm not just saying that about Butland. That's just the first example. There was just so many sort of unforced errors from us, I thought, just throughout the game that was just pissing me off, to put it mildly.
That's your explicit. Everybody gets one on the show. I think we've always came in agreement that everybody gets one, especially after a performance like that. We were obviously trying to play out for the back, and Gordon's obviously asked the same question. We obviously thought playing out from the back. We have been trying to do it, but I understand that sometimes we can't do it. Jack Butland at times was willing to go along with the ball, but it was not sticking with Cyril Dessers at all. Cyril didn't have the greatest night of his career. But, I think we're asking probably to do a little bit of a different job than what he's normally asked to do. Would you agree?
Yeah, kind of kind of annoyed with Dessers. I feel like he should be running back, looking for the ball, not actually just like staying where he is and expecting the ball. I've seen the comments are positive get through, but that was not a positive performance at all. It's pretty rubbish. I'm actually not looking forward to the Alloa game. I'm really not. And we should be saying that about Rangers fans. Being honest. I'm actually really not looking forward to it at all. I don't know how you feel about that, but
it's more just to. I agree with what you're saying. I was looking forward to it in the sense of get through convincingly to tonight's tie and play some of the squad players against Alloa. Still enough to get us through. You know what I mean? I don't want to be disrespectful to Alloa, but some of the guys that haven't had a lot of game time, get them on. You know, save some of the legs and some of the are out and out starters, who right now I can't even say who they are, to be honest. After that, but that was what I was thinking pre-match. After this, Russell Martin's going to have to be playing his first 11, or who he thinks his first 11 is going to be, because he's going to need a reaction. Because if we get another, even if we win, which we probably will against Alloa, but a shit. Sorry, that's my second one. After a terrible performance again like that, even if we get the result, like, he's just adding more pressure onto himself. And as much as I understand Russell Martin's trying to do the right things, the players just aren't doing it. And I just don't understand what it is when they're just making basic errors and there's no real penetration, no real creativity. It's so frustrating to watch.
It's incredibly frustrating to watch, and we're now at a stage where we would have liked to have thought that using, and like you say, Richard, obviously the Alloa game and tonight, because bearing in mind we had a 3-0 lead going over to a team in which we should be beaten significantly, well, not significantly, but we were comfortable, and this was an opportunity to go out and show the support what we're meant to be playing. Games like tonight, Alloa, but now we're at a stage where we just need to try and get wins. You know, we've had to we've cancelled the postponement of the St Mirren game, basically in a state of panic to get points on the board before we play Celtic, because and on top of that, we're obviously looking at a suspension as well to try and to play around that. We're now 5 or 6 games into this season, proper games, not friendlies, and we're not seeing anything at all. And the Rangers support, I think you both agree with me, if there was embryonic symptoms or embryonic showings of what Russell Martin has claimed his Rangers team is going to look like, using with the terminology that he's used, aggression, courage, passion, we would buy into it. That's all we want, is we want to see what he talks about come to fruition. And if we play tonight, if we get beaten 2-1 tonight, but it was because we were being aggressive and we get caught in the break, and we were playing a high press, and we kind of lost the ball and we get caught in the break, people would probably understand. But the fact of the matter is that we've had another game against a team that we're better than, in terms of the talent of players that we've got, but we cannot, we can't string 3 passes together without getting the ball away. We've got this insistence on playing off from the back, and I know I'm going on a bit of a rant, so I can only apologise to the listeners. Nobody wants to listen to me rant and rave. But, we're at a stage where we should be seeing something, even if it's small passages of play that he talks about. He talks about them training like a beast and, in training, and he talks about their attitude. We're not seeing it on the park. And spare me, and Ross, I'm going to ask you about this as well. He talks about, the nervousness of the players. These are guys that are getting paid 25-30 grand a week. How can you be nervous going on to a football park?
Personally, they shouldn't. They're getting paid millions to perform. If you look, I don't know, if you look at the Boo Brigade, for example, the players should be able to block out all the fans. Go out and show why you should play for the jersey. Should have done a previous sport before. But they shouldn't be nervous playing for Rangers. I'm sorry, but if you can't handle it, you can't play for the club. People may think that's a strong statement, but that's what I believe. If you're not big enough to play for Rangers, there's the door. We can't afford those stranglers. We've had it for years. Players that can't play for Rangers, we've had them, it just doesn't work out. For example, I'm going to put Dow, for example. He's not Rangers class. He's not. And he's just stealing a wage. It's really frustrating. Very frustrating indeed. I hate saying one now, but when Dow goes on, you're like, oh no, here we go. What is Martin Seaman Dow that we aren't? I don't see anything in him when he comes on at all. So I don't know
Yeah.
what they're doing in training. They're not showing it on the pitch at all. But as you said, Ross, they're getting scared. Why? Go out and show. Go out and show what you show the training. But they're not showing it. They're not showing anything at all. If you look at our pictures last night, I seen they were doing wheelbarrows in training. Come on. That's amateur stuff. That's not. Should be doing that at a team with Rangers. It's all good for team bonding and everything, but wheelbarrow stuff, that's embarrassing seeing that on Twitter and Facebook. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but I was quite embarrassed seeing the picture last night.
I think probably something that Ross does pick up there is that Kieran Dowell has become kind of almost symptomatic of this, and when he come on, you're like, why is he bringing him on? To be honest, I actually thought Dowell was all right when he came on, so you've got to give him credit when credit's due. I thought he was actually not the worst player on the park, considering the nonsense we had watched for 75, 80 minutes, prior to it. Richard, I wanted to just say something. One of the players that I actually thought did deserve the pass marks, because we can't be negative, for half an hour. It's not fair. I thought Oliver Antman. I thought Oliver Antman played extremely well. We must be getting into trouble if the boss man's on a walk and deciding to join us. We must definitely be in trouble. But I'll finish my question first before we come on to the boss man. Richard, obviously, I thought Oliver Antman, worked hard, tracked back, and done the job that we've been expecting from him. He's obviously quality. He's still taking time to settle. Would you agree that he's probably one of the few positives that we've got to take from the game?
He was, to be fair, he was bright. Probably, you are right, he's probably the only one that really got pass marks, but only just, to be honest. He was a bright spark. As much as he was probably, I don't want to say our best player, but the one that we sort of looked we were leaning more towards, it actually looked like he was performing. So he done well, but I just wanted to comment a little bit more before about what Ross was saying. I try to jump in, but I didn't want to speak over you, Ross. Is that I can understand some of the players, being scared and getting nervous before a game when you're playing in front of 50,000 fans, and if you know you're going to be terrible, you're going to get abuse. I can get that, but if that's where you are, you can't play for Rangers, because that comes with the territory. So you should know that before you sign, or you should learn you'll learn very, very quickly. It's a mentality block, and I can understand it. But what we saw today, apart from Ant-Man, to be honest, I didn't see a lot of them with any real desire or hunger, or any of them actually looking pissed off at the performance overall. They were all sort of passive and just sort of hiding in a way. There was nobody who wanted to take the ball, the game by the scruff of the neck, and do something with it and improve. That's why I didn't see anybody really pushing for that. They were trying to make forward passes. I get that, but I didn't see anybody absolutely bust my gut to change the performance throughout the entire team. And something that we've also said about having leaders on the park. That's what you need leaders on the park for, and I don't think we have enough of them.
Completely agree with you. Scotty, the boss man, you've joined us on your walk, probably.
You hear me okay, Ross?
We can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear.
Just
your initial reaction to it, please, if you don't mind.
We're through, aren't we? We've not been through to a playoff stage for, well, God knows how many years now.
2 seasons. Since
Gio. So, we're here. I think we need to be thankful that we're here. Last year we should have been there, but we weren't. Jeffrey done his bit again, don't get me wrong, to make sure we weren't. But, hold on, I need to sit down while I'm chatting to you. I was at a walk while the game was on, hence why I decided just to jump on my phone. But I thought overall it was a pretty professional performance. There was drips and drabs of the game where you're like, Christ, that's a wee bit too close again, or too much this, too much that. But that's going to come and go as far as I'm concerned, Ross. But all I wanted when I seen a draw see when Panathinaikos came out, Ross, and then I seen Servette or Viktoria Plzen, I thought, if we get through Panathinaikos, we've got a great opportunity to get to playoffs. We've made it. Ultimately, to me, out with our domestic campaign, we made it to the playoffs, the Champions League. And I don't know what the score is between Salzburg and Bruges just now, but I know it was 2-1 to Salzburg, so we've got a decent opportunity. 2 each, right?
Yeah, so Club Rouge 3-2 ahead in aggregate with about 86 minutes played.
But Bruges have sold 3 of their best players for last season. I think they've raked in some 50 odd million. Regardless, I would say we've got a decent chance of competing. And see, before this season came around, is that not what you would ask for? Like, would you not have taken that? I know the performances have been dodgy and all the rest of it. And the style of play is not quite clicked.
But I think that's the point, Scotty. It's like, as much as if we had been performing domestically, against Dundee and Motherwell, had results, I think people would accept tonight. Except all we care about is just getting through. But I think what people are more concerned about now is the performances, and that's probably why we need this St Mirren game, because we don't want to go in a game against Celtic after the way we've been performing. I'm not really. I don't know whether to count Alloa too much, because I don't really know what sort of side he'll put out, whether or not he'll put out his strongest side, which he might do now after tonight's performance. Right, so I think we need another game before we go in against Celtic. Obviously, we're going to have probably the Club Brugge games, but the way which we're playing is not convincing the fans. So as much as, we got through tonight, that's what we should be hoping for in European football, but the way we're performing is a concern.
Aye, of course it is overall, but I think we need to remember is we're post-match reaction on a European tie. So overall, I think we need to be happy with getting through in a European playoff for the Champions League. But we're 180 minutes away from reaching the Champions League, whereas this time last season we're getting beat off Dynamo Kiev and getting down to 10 men, and we're on a shoestring budget. And you're looking at it this year, and we're signing players left, right, and centre. And we've got a style of play that's dodgy as right, left. There's nothing good about it so far, right? I'll grant that to he's 100%. Everything he's saying is completely right, but what I'm trying to say is remain grounded in terms of where we were compared to where we are. We're about to sign a centre back for £3 million. Nobel Mendy for Real Betis, according to reports. Chris Jackett, Rangers Review, and Sasha Tavolieri and all the rest of it. Plenty more signings to come. I really hope we can get a striker. I thought we were really, really toothless up top tonight. Really toothless. Dessers should have won as a penalty, which apart from that, that's all he done. Then he get injured. Then Danilo come on, he links up a goal and does nothing else. I mean, that's your two strikers. Strong rumours around about Igaman believing. Nah, it's not good enough. We've got 3 strikers there. One of them is probably get his head turned with transfer speculation. The other 2, one gets through purple patches, and the other one just, I've not even made my mind up on him, to be brutally honest with you, but for what I've seen so far, he drops too deep, he doesn't contribute enough in the box. So I think we need to go out and sign a proper out-and-out number 9. I really want to see a statement signing for Rangers in that area. And I think that would help us going forward domestically.
I feel with that, Scotty, that the fans would go on with the border a lot more as well. If we go out tomorrow and sign a striker, it's all right saying these players, but as you said, we need a striker now. We can't wait till next week. We can't.
Aye, but then Ross, you're looking at the service that the strikers have had. I mean, it's 6 matches now, and many chances have they had created on goal. It's all right as if they've had 5 or 6 matches created per match. Yeah. I think we created more for Cyril Dessers last season than we have this season in 2 games. I think if you pick out 2 random matches for the beginning of last season, we create more chances for Dessers than we do for the 2 games he's played so far this year. And it's just adjusting to his style of play. It's about players finding their positions and finding which way to turn and who's going to be where and all the rest of it. And I've seen a lot of folk getting Jeffy a lot of stick tonight. I'm saying, that's how I was in his chat. I said, well, what do you want? And do you want Max Aarons back at left back? Do you want Ridvan getting injured after a shot and he picks up a groin injury? Because that's what we were this time last season. So we can't have it all our own way. If 49ers and Andrew Kavanagh can't go out and spend every single bit of money to fix this squad right away. We've had 9, we're about to have our 10th signing. Things are going to take time. We really, really need to calm it a wee bit. We're in the playoffs, say Champions League. Let's just kind of be thankful for that tonight and just you know what I mean? Hopefully we get through Saturday and then St Mirren comes. We'll worry about it game by game. but it needs to click soon. I will agree with that.
Yeah, one thing I did see tonight before I come on, they had 27 shots on target. We had 6.
Lost.
That's worrying. That's very worrying.
It is. I think we can obviously, we're obviously trying to take the positive. Scotty's obviously come on to bring a bit of positivity, and we do have to understand that it is a work in progress. And I think we're probably at a stage where people calling for sackings and all this nonsense it is extremely premature. But the fact I don't think you can get away from something that was just mentioned there is that you're saying we'll worry about Alloa and then we'll worry about St Mirren. I'm like, well, we need to think about the bigger picture as well. We also need to think about what this team's going to look like long term. And let's not be shy about it. We've asked for a lot from the new owners, and they've given us a lot. They've thoroughly went in the manager search, and this is the guy they want. That's fine. They've backed him. We've spent a lot of money, bearing in mind the amount of players that we have on the books who are not contributing. We've got, there's 7 or 8 guys that are on the Rangers payroll on significant wages who have not been seen. They're in the what's the phrase, the bomb squad. They're eating up massive wages, and the owners are front loading the money. We're going out to spend another €3 million on another centre half who can play on the left hand side. So it's still a work in progress. So if we're going to be glass half full about it, I think we can understand that it is a process, and probably the longer it goes on, the better we'll see. But we're obviously a support, and we've had so many false dawns, and I can't have lost the comment now, so I do apologise. A guy did put a comment up saying that we've had more rebuilds than the trainee bricker wall at Cardonald College, so, which is 100% spot on, But like I say, we'll get just a wee couple of things in the game, because I think we've kind of spoke about Rangers enough.
Before we do it, one thing I will bring up with Scotty, I totally agree. If you look last season today, we've got to be positive. I get it's frustrating now, but we've got to be positive. As I said, we're 180 minutes away. Got to try and be positive right now.
We are, and let's not beat around the bush, right? The 2 teams that we play in the playoffs are beatable. We can beat them if we play the way that we're expected to play. They're beatable teams. They're not. It's not as if if you remember 2 seasons ago we played PSV Eindhoven and they tore us apart because we just were not ready. But I think that Club Brugge, who we've already played in pre-season, bearing in mind, so we have had a good look at them. They're currently leading the tie, as Richard told us. So there is an opportunity, right? So if you're going to be glass half full, let's be glass half full. Then they have to look at that and say it is a beatable tie. But we can put that in the back burner. Richard, obviously on the game, Jack Butland's had a couple of cracking saves throughout, especially in the second half, to essentially keep us in it. Again, I think he's obviously kind of coming back to his best in terms of shot stopping, but sometimes his distribution is, questionable.
Well, it's more than that. That's why the article I wrote, that went out yesterday, I think. I mean, I'm a big Butland fan, I am, but I've got to be realistic about the way he's performing. He's making saves. He is making saves, but he's still not showing that real commanding, confident sort of performer that he was in his first few months at the club. And I don't know if it is genuinely because he's been asked to play more with the ball at his feet. I don't, because last season he was just as shaky, but the only difference is he was throwing the ball in the net. At least this time he's looking shaky, but he's making the saves where he needs to. He's not really looked overly commanding. I've not seen him really rushing out, making the standout saves. Although, apart from maybe one against Panathinaikos, but he was doing it almost every game in his first season. We've not seen that Jack Butland yet, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what, because he's doing all right in the games. I don't know if it's just because he's been asked to do something different that he's perhaps not been asked to do in his career that's sort of making him still a wee bit shaky. And obviously he's made a couple of errors playing out from the back. Like I said earlier on about being closed out or almost closed down before he booted the ball up the park. Sometimes you just need to do that. So I'm hoping he does get back to it, because he's got potential to be an absolute class keeper for us if he can find that form back. I don't know how he does it, but that's what they paid us Martin the big bucks for, to try and figure that out. But like I say, it's not just him though. There's a few others that are just not performing the way they think should. But I'm hopeful Butland will get back to his best eventually.
Yeah, I think so too. Ross, we'll just finish obviously on the positive. We do get the goal at 1-0 down. We do get a goal, a great finish from Lyle Cameron. See what happens when you get midfielders that attack the box.
Just shows you. It's what I don't know. Again, it's confidence of going forward. It was a beautiful goal. Beautiful goal where Cameron. I'm glad he's got his first goal. I believe it's his first goal for Rangers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but hopefully this start. Personally, I think it's a cracking wee player. So I'm glad they got the goal. After I said we needed the goal when we got it. So I think we got the goal. We kind of calmed down a bit. I feel like their goal, the second one, was a very scrappy goal to give away. It's just a free header. But again, be positive. As Scott said, we're 180 minutes away from proper Champions League. We can't be negative. Stay be positive and look forward to Saturday. So
look forward to Saturday. I think that's what we've all got to do now. This tie is over. It's in the history books. It's resigned to the records. Obviously, I think it is now confirmed that we will play Club Brugge in the playoff round of the Champions League. That'll probably the first leg will be played next week, I believe. We'll get played at Ibrox next week, and then we'll obviously go over to Belgium the following week. The dates will obviously be confirmed by Rangers. I'd like to, obviously, it's not been the greatest pod. It's not been a terrific performance, and that obviously makes it a little bit harder for us. But we'll always bring you your pre and post match. You'll always get open and honesty from the boys at the Journal. Just obviously, we'll just wrap it up there, guys. I just wanted to say thank you so much. First of all, thanks to Ross.
thanks a lot. Thanks for all the comments, guys. Thanks for your time. Cheers.
And thanks to Richard as well, all the way over in Germany. Richard, it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, mate. Yeah, it's difficult to be completely positive when you literally get on the pod straight after the game rather than being able to, take a few minutes to compose yourself and think it through. But yeah, like you say, happy to get through, got a chance to go into the Champions League, and that's all that matters at the end of the day, isn't it?
It is all that matters. And obviously, the guys will be back on tomorrow night. The guys will have a chance to compose their thoughts, and we'll bring you a little bit more in-depth breakdown tomorrow night on the Rangers Journal. Obviously, I just want to say thanks to everybody in the comments. I know it's not been the most positive group this tonight, but that's understandable. But like I say, it's always a positive. You've got to come on and you've got to take the best out of things. We'll always do that with Rangers supporters, and the good times will come. We just need to keep fighting. We need to keep going. And again, thank you so much for your comments, your questions. Make sure to give us a like, subscribe. If you like what you see, it is the most in-depth Rangers content you will get for absolutely not a penny anywhere on the internet. You won't get anything more in-depth than what you get here at the Rangers Journal. Thank you so much for listening, and remember that every night is your Rangers Journal night, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Good night.